Well, hello there. Jocelyn here, and I know it's been a hot minute. Okay, it's been over a month, but things have been happening, as I'm sure you might have noticed, and I've been, well, since my last video, I thought it might get a bit buried in the algorithm because of the amount of times I said a certain very vulgar word. After explicitly saying that I was going to have to be careful with my language, I then proceeded to say said word like 50 times. And I thought that's what was going to bury me in the algorithm. Then the Charlie Kirk thing happened. Oh, yeah. So we're going to have to talk about stuff. Before we do, though, hello, Jocelyn here. Call me Joy if you wish. This is my channel. It's been like this, not for some time, basically, because of reasons. I have to do this entire video in one take. I'm going to try and minimize the amounts of ums and pauses as possible because I have no way to edit this video, and I will explain why in just a moment. But first, to the main point. Let's talk about the Charlie Kirk thing while I get ready for my day, because life is a whirlwind, and just like a whirlwind, going pretty fast these days, and I kind of don't wish to be, but there we go. So, the man who advocated for some collateral damage, okay, he didn't use those words, but that was what he meant, in order to protect the Second Amendment right that you Americans have, fell victim to that. The poetic justice is poetic justicing, I would say. Charlie Kirk, R.I.P., fine, whatever, but it's up to you whether R.I.P. stands for rest in peace or rot in piss. I think you can already tell which take I have. So, this was not a good person. I'm just gonna flat out say it. This was not a good, kind person. And as far as I can tell, the world is better off without that kind of nasty, hideous rhetoric in it. Okay? It hasn't been stopped. It hasn't disappeared. In fact, it's kind of got worse since. But it's one less voice out there spreading that kind of hate and fascism. And I do mean fascism literally. I'm not being hyperbolic here. Okay, he wanted to take away the rights of people who need abortions and such like. He wanted to take rights away from trans people and gay people. Let's not God, nips. It's okay, they're non-binary nips. But let's not delude ourselves into thinking that this was some sort of saint, an angel, and this is what the right-wing political response has been to all this. Like, they're trying to martyr him. They're trying to knight him, make him a saint almost, and it's that's not who he was. And anyone even remotely suggesting that he wasn't, anyone who uses his own words to suggest what kind of a type of person he was, is trying to, you know, on the receiving end of a cancellation campaign. Up is down, left is right, good is bad with these people, you know? It's just, the insanity has been more insane than I could have or I think anyone could have predicted. But here we go. This is Archduke Ferdinand 0.2.0 sort of thing. Like, here we have the catalyst, someone being assassinated, then being used as a way for other people to make the world worse. Let me check some notes. So I hesitated in making this video for about a month because I wanted to see how things would play out. I wanted to see how, like, people's responses would be. And everyone had an opinion about this. I had an opinion about it. But again, I wanted to wait and see, like, okay, wait until more information sort of turns up about the person who did it, about the right-wing response, left-wing response, anybody's response. And it's been you know, huge all over the world. It's been huge news all over the world, especially in the US, of course, but also here in the UK, there's been some people who are apparently debate bro fans here in this country, and I hate that. And it's just... I don't think that the fact that he's dead should make him immune to criticism, you know? And I think this is true of a lot of my problematic faves. I recently found out that Pablo Picasso was an awful piece of shit human being who abused women in his life. I still think Guernica is a fantastic piece of art. Difference being that Charlie Kirk never produced art. So, yeah. Let's touch briefly on the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing. Look, I'm no Kimmel fan either, but no, he shouldn't have lost his job over criticising... he wasn't actually criticising Charlie Kirk, he was criticising Trump. And I think that's why that happened. But there you go. But yes, this has made huge news everywhere. And it's just wild, you know? It's just really, really wild. I don't have any clothes here. That's not a good thing. I now have to do the rest of this in my underwear. Okay. And I think the major disrespect is not for saying this is who Charlie Kirk was. The major disrespect is coming from inside the house, the White House specifically. Your president, what's his name? Dolan Frump or something? Like, callously going on about a ballroom when asked about his closest ally and dead friend, you know, that's disrespect that needs to be called out. And the fact that Kimmel lost his job, even temporarily, over that that's fascism in action. You've got to realise that. And I'm so glad that so many Americans do realise that, and that the No Kings protests aren't stopping. Seriously, can you not impeach this guy yet? You tried like 3 times in his first term. He is incapable of leading a country, incapable of finishing a fucking thought or a sentence. Like, he's unfit to lead any, like, I wouldn't put him in charge of a bakery, let alone a bloody country. And also, just we Brits, we kind of hate these repetitive visits that he keeps making to our island. Like, make him fuck off. It's okay. We did get our own back on that one. Everywhere he goes, he is going to be reminded, yes, you are not only friends, or were friends with Epstein, but yeah, your legacy is that you will never get away from that. And that's kind of delicious. He can never erase that as much as he wants to. And also, speaking of people that want things, this is not me celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, okay? This is not that. I'm the kind of person who would not celebrate that, because despite the poetic justice, despite the weird circumstances surrounding it, and the fact that he was not a good person, the fact that that happened is a bad thing, is something that I can recognize, makes me better than him, makes me better than all of them, and makes anyone who thinks that death equals bad better than all of these Republican politicians and yeah, even some Democrat politicians and the right-wing political pundits like Charlie Kirk, but also like Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro and all the other nasty, hideous people. You know, that's what makes us better than them, is that when they are the unfortunate victims of things like this, we think, well, this is what you wanted. Kind of serves you right in a way. This would never have happened if you hadn't advocated for this world. You know? We don't want this kind of world. We don't want anyone to have to deal with this, to be shot, or to be the wife or child or parent of someone who is shot dead. Like, we don't want that kind of world. That's why we disagree with you in the first place. And yet, he is the kind of person who has celebrated some people being killed, whether it was the Democrat person who got shot, or whether it's a whole bunch of Palestinians, because he did that. And that's the difference. That's what makes us better than him. And you know, to anyone who is celebrating him, I think, well, yeah, you are equally just as scummy and bad. You know, that's not the point. That being said, when Trump goes, you know I am cracking open a bottle of wine for that one. When Trump goes, hopefully of natural causes, however natural a cause a cheeseburger-related clot to a certain artery can be considered, whether it comes in 2 days or 3 days, oh, I am going to celebrate that one. Yeah. I mean, it would be a bit different if it was an assassination, right? But I think Satan willing, you know, the insanity has gone on long enough. It's time to end it. And no one wishes for this more, I think, than the expensive prostitute Melania. Because I can't imagine a world in which she isn't there every night praying, please, just let it end. Just let me not be married to this douchebag dickhead anymore, and I can go fuck an ex Britney Spears dancer and be done with it. I would guess. Right? So yeah, the amount of terrible, awful things that he has done personally and his administration has done, like as a collective, to take away rights from people, from all kinds of people, but especially my kinds of people. You know, that's the thing. That's the thing that I'm going to celebrate the most, is that there's no more of this. And of course, that's not even true. Of course, his legacy will be his god-awful Nepo babies and his administration that will still continue to make things awful and worse, because when it comes to the political spectrum, the Simpsons got things completely right back in the 90s when they did that elephant episode. Does anyone remember that? Stampy the elephant is running through the conventions for the Democrats and the Republicans, and the Democrats are just useless and the Republicans are evil. And nothing has changed in what, 20 years, 20, 30 years since then? It's just got worse. I mean, everyone laughs about the whole Simpsons predicted it first, but is it a prediction or is it just a reading of the times at that point? Anyway. The reason I know that any kind of attempt to martyrize Charlie Kirk is completely false and disingenuous is these people don't think death is bad. They don't. What about all the Palestinian people who have died? The tens of thousands, if not hundreds thousands, since like 2 years ago? Not to mention all the other horrible events that have happened in the world, the other genocides, the ethnic cleansings, the literally everything going on. But no, and I'll tell you why. It's because one death is a story. One death is a husband, a father, a son to somebody, a narrative to be then cynically weaponized by far-right wingers. A genocide is just faceless statistics. It's business as usual. It's Heath Ledger's Joker giving that speech to Harvey Two-Face in the hospital. And of course, the thing I do hate the most about living in the UK is that currently our elected leader, Keir Starmer, the queer harmer, buddied up to Trump after this. And did anyone see, I wish I was able to edit videos at the moment, because I would put up a screenshot or a short video of them. There was this part where they were talking, there was a podium here, one there, one with Trump, one with Starmer, and he was emulating Trump's like cadence and affectations, and a little bit just saying, this special relationship between the US and the UK, it's very big. Like, fuck off. Trump doesn't need another little lap bitch. He's already got one. Her name is JD Vance. And he is also funding and arming the Israeli forces. And now Labour have decided that a group that peacefully protests for Palestinian rights is terrorism. Cannot say that word because of algorithm. And yet, the wackiest, weirdest part of all of this is that I'm sure for most people, life is still exactly the same. Life goes on. Life continues. If I wasn't so terminally internet brained, I would have very little knowledge of all of this. Because, in a weird way, it feels like nothing has happened. It feels like nothing has changed. I have my own shit going on. People around me are doing things, and we are living our lives pretty much the same way as we were before. Yes, we have one extra topic of conversation. That's about it. Like, I still have to work. Should I put my work top on? I should put my work top on, I think. I'm starting to get chilly. And I gotta be there in a few hours. I have to go to work, you know? And things at work are getting weirder and weirder, just in their own way. I have to deal with the changes that they keep bringing in that, quite frankly, it's not helping an awful lot. Certain things I will not say on the internet, if you know what I mean. But I have to deal with these changes at work that are let's just say the bureaucracy is bureaucracying. I've also had problems with my teeth. I had an infected tooth. It kept getting infected and then subsiding and then getting infected again. It had a massive crater in it from where it was impacted, from where one tooth grew into the other tooth. That broke. That tooth was weakened so much and it broke. And then I had to have it pulled out, which was traumatic. And then I had to pay for this fucking this, which was also traumatic. Because NHS dentists in the UK are not readily available. The NHS is supposed to be there to help everyone. And in a weird way it was. But it was like 3 weeks too late for me. Because I needed this thing out as soon as possible. Because there was a sharp edge and it was grating against my tongue. And then that was like hurting my tongue. And it felt like it was going to cut open the flesh there. That was not good. So that had to come out. And yeah, I'm still kind of dealing with the healing of that. Because now there's a big gap in my mouth. And then I actually got seen by the NHS doctor who said, oh yeah, by the way, you need fillings, but we don't do those here. Yeah. And then there's my social life. My social life is still going and doing as normal, you know, all the things. I go to gaming every week. I have at least 3 games nights. Monday nights is roleplay group. Wednesday and Thursday alternate. So Wednesdays is board games when I'm not doing the Thursdays, and then when I am doing the Thursdays, I'm doing the other roleplay group which I'm in charge of. I'm running that group. I'm running the game of Call of Cthulhu for that group. And I'm playing in the other one. So 2 roleplay groups. And then there's Friday Night Gaming, which is every week, which there is some overlap between all of these groups as to which people are in them, but the Friday group essentially is a separate thing to the Wednesday group because they are in different locations. And then there's also the last Saturday of every month, there's a library day, and one day a month, another subset of people of these groups, we get together and we do Betrayal on House of the Hill Legacy. And this is my social life. Not to mention all the other things I do. Just last Saturday, I went to an ice hockey match. I went to my first ever ice hockey match. And it was great. I really enjoyed myself. I didn't think that I would like it as much as I did. I think if I was to watch it on a screen, that I would probably enjoy it less. I think part of the fun was the atmosphere of being there, but also it was just such a great match to watch. You had hockey sticks being broken and people shoving each other against the walls, and there was a hockey stick flying in the air at one point, and the goals, 2 goals at the end were like scored in the last 2 minutes, and of course it was the opposition team. They played very well though, they did. Like, I'm not gonna lie. But that's just one of the many things that, like, I'm busy with. And then there's also the rent stuff that I'm dealing with. I have to try and figure out a way to either keep rent low or pay rent more, and this job doesn't pay well at all. Like, it's just above minimum wage, and wages are stagnant at the moment, and I've got all this shit to sort of deal with. And then there's all the other stuff that I'm doing, you know? It's like, let's go and see those friends who I haven't seen in a while and have a drink and a catch up, and and then there's the phone. Okay, let's talk about the phone. This is the reason why you've been seeing a rambly rant for the past nearly half an hour. So I was gifted this phone. This is the first ever iPhone I've ever owned. This is the first ever Apple product I have ever owned. So getting to grips with it was already kind of a bit of a mindfuck, because nothing is intuitive to the way I'm used to. Furthermore, I can't work out how to download editing software. I've asked a few people to help me, and I will, you know, at some point when we're free, we'll meet up and we'll do the thing, but I haven't had a chance to do that yet, because I'm busy butterfly, clearly. And I can't work out how to do things on it, so for now it's just, here's a video. Because I've missed doing videos. Because it's been too long. And once I do find a way to do the editing, then I can go back to doing something a bit more structured. And again, life can return to something that resembles normal, whatever that means. And of course, there's all the other stuff that I do, you know? Just random life stuff that just happens. You just got to do it because it gets in the way, or because you know, like, I haven't had much time to do videos, but like partly because I wanted to wait and see what happened and transpired as a result of this assassination, but also because I've just had shit to do. I've got a flat to maintain and clean, and oh my god, the curtain rail fell off, and I tried to repair it, and then I ended up hitting my thumb 3 times with the hammer, so now I've had to put out on a call, and I'm waiting for that person to turn up, which should be Thursday or Friday, so that means I've got to tidy up that area of the bedroom before that person shows up, and I've got to take the laundry out and do the cleaning, and you know, I've just had a shower, and when I'm not doing all of that stuff, and when I'm not at work, and when I'm not out in social life, all I want to do is veg out and just play fucking Switch games, you know? Like, I want to play games and unlock stuff and make progress on stuff. That takes up time, and that also just takes up energy, because this is my interests, this is what I like. So that's been my life for the past month or so. Which does ultimately, bringing it all back to the same sort of topic, goes to show you this is what happens. This is what happens when evil people die. You get a big ol' reaction politically, but most of the people across the world don't get affected by it. Not directly anyway. And yeah, maybe it is a little crass to say, but yes, I'm not celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. I'm not mourning him either, because I don't think he was worthy of that. He's not worthy of, certainly not worthy of as much time as I've already expended on him in this video. But I feel less towards him. I feel like nothing towards him. I barely even feel sympathy towards anyone who knew him personally. Certainly know his wife. I don't care. She's, you know, she, I presume, chose to marry that. So yeah, she knew what she was getting into there. I have way more sympathy because, you know, he doesn't like sympathy. He didn't like sympathy. He thought sympathy was weakness. Well, why would I want to expend any on him then? I'm going to channel my sympathy towards the people that deserve it, towards Palestinian people who are being exterminated in Gaza, towards the, you know, flotilla that tried so desperately to get aid to them, and then Israel did a bunch more war crimes. My sympathies lie with the people that didn't deserve what they got. As cold as that sounds, my sympathies lie with immigrants in the US right now. Anyone who looks remotely browner than a piece of pine furniture, I guess. My sympathies lie with the rest of my LGBTQ community because of the way that we're being treated right now by our governments, who are there to supposedly support, uplift, and protect us, which they are not doing. But when all is said and done, when the president goes, yeah, there's a special place in hell for that one, isn't there? And I am going to crack open that bottle of wine when it happens. Because nobody said I was an angel either. Okay. That's it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Half an hour of me rambling, waffling, everything. Certainly more than I think you deserve. But there we go. It's been an interesting one. And I will see you next time. Hopefully with something a bit more structured, like I said. Until then. Non-binary is valid, goddammit.